First question I have for you is what initially sparked your interest in UX design? Why did you choose it as your career path?
So I actually had a bit of a career change about 5 or 6 years ago. I was working in engineering consulting and I really liked the design side of things, especially like systems design, things like that. But I wanted to move into something more creative. So I wound up going back to school in visual communications design, so more graphic design. But then over the course of that degree, I did a comp sci minor. So there's a lot of nice alignment there. I found my way into more and more UX classes and really appreciated that it's everywhere. Like it's a very ubiquitous field of design. We're touching on so many different things moving forward through school and even starting out a career in this field. I got very interested in accessibility. And I understand that the physical world, there can be a lot of barriers for a lot of different people, but I really appreciate that perhaps in a more digital environment, we can remove those barriers and start to create a more equitable, equal playing field. So that's been something that's really sparked me going down this career.
Thanks for sharing. All right, next question here. How do you stay updated with trends and best practices within UX design?
So we approach this from a number of ways. We have a really tight knit team at our office. There's four of us working in UX and product. And so we're very good about all having our ears to the ground, sharing information as it comes up. And then there's a number of publications I'm subscribed to. One would be like UX Collective. It's a great resource out there for staying on top of things. And it is behind a paywall, but it's worth it to stay on top of the trends. Other than that, whenever there's novel kind of like conferences, trying to go to those. A number of the big organizations. So there's the Interaction Design Foundation and Figma. They'll put on those symposiums, like online conferences, etc. They're pretty accessible. You don't have to be flying halfway across the continent or things like that. So those are great, and they'll happen quarterly, sometimes like once or twice a year kind of thing. But yeah, just trying to broach things from like a number of different resources.
What are your thoughts on the future of UX design, particularly in terms of accessibility and inclusivity?
That's a big question. These topics, they're already at the forefront, but they're more and more just becoming like a part of the daily practice. And people are realizing like, what an impact having accessible and inclusive anything is really. You don't want to have barriers to anyone if you want to have a successful product or service. And so far as where things are going, I think just a better understanding from most people, let alone designers, that these are important things and how to address, especially like accessibility. Just people are better educated. It's becoming more of a common practice. Wins in these areas are a lot more celebrated or acknowledged.
Okay, last question I have for you for Fast Four is can you share a piece of advice that's been a guiding light throughout your career?
There's a number of things. I think being curious is if you can foster that, you're gonna go far, I think, not just in UX, but anywhere, and just genuinely wanting to grow, try new things, put yourself out there, constantly learning. I feel once you stop learning, you're dying at that point. And it's such a fast changing field, just working in tech. It's so important to stay on top of trends, trying new things, especially. I know even the last year or so, with the explosion in AI tools. There's a lot of reticence amongst like creatives, designers, etc. But I think being open to trying tools and seeing how things can maybe move you out of your comfort zone, but get you to a better place. That's the biggest thing is being curious, wanting to learn, wanting to try things, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I really appreciate the adage that failure is the best teacher. And I've always said it's not failing if you're learning from it. It's failure if you keep making the same mistakes, but you're not going to grow or improve without trying things that are outside your comfort zone.